Hello everyone, my name is Kay and I'm very excited to tell you the long-awaited Stardew Valley 1.6 update has finally become available on all platforms. And in honor of this awesome news, I am starting a brand new video series on this channel. If you do enjoy this video and would like to see more, then please don't forget to subscribe. So, let's get started, shall we? My main goal for this series is to reach perfection but at a pace that still keeps the game joyful. This is, after all, a cozy gaming channel. I'm gonna be honest here, it took me ages to perfect my farming character. When starting a new game, it's always hard for me to find the perfect hair and outfit, and when you're adding the options for choosing a farm name and a pet as well, let's just say it took me so long to complete that when I started the skies were blue and the sun was shining, and when I finished it was completely dark outside. With my farmer finally being done, I started my journey to visit my grandfather's farm that I inherited for the very first time, and it was a little bit rough, so I chose to name it Chaos Farms, and it's honestly going to be a pretty chaotic gameplay, so it's very fitting. I met Robin, the town's carpenter, and our mayor, Lewis. After that, I was kind of set free to my own devices, and my only tasks really were to meet the other townspeople and my new chickens, which were so cute. They were named Piccolo and Viola. These names were honestly perfect for me. I was so excited when I saw them because, confession time, I have played Stardew once before. Did I get very far in the game? No. I am hoping to change that in this playthrough. But in my previous playthrough, I had named all of my animals musical instrument themed. So this was just super exciting and a great way to start my new game. After that, I decided to clean up my farm a bit because there were rocks everywhere and weeds and sticks, and it was terrible. I don't know how you're supposed to plant crops or raise animals happily in that environment, so that needed to be fixed immediately. But I got tired of doing that, so I headed up towards the mountain area to see what I could find, and I found a very cute home. It looks like it's Robin's home, and I met her husband, Demetrius, a scientist. I then ran into their son, Sebastian, in the kitchen, who seems deep, dark, mysterious. I'm not really sure, but might find out later. After that, I couldn't really find anyone else in the house, so I headed back up to explore more in the mountains, and I found a sweet man named Linus, who seems to be one with nature. I then decided to see what I could find in town, and I found a cute little market called, I don't even know what it's called actually, Pelican Town Market? So Pierre's Market. Either way, the market was owned by a man named Pierre, obviously. It looks like he sells seeds for crops, which is awesome, and maybe some food stuff. I then went further into their home and ran into his lovely wife, Caroline, who has awesome green hair. And I thought to myself, where else can I find people in this town? And decided the bar or saloon, excuse me, would be the place to go. And I was totally right. I ran into a boatload of people. I met Pam, Gus, Emily, and Shane, who was super rude to me. I'm not sure I will speak to him again if I can avoid it. I also met Clint, who was kind of awkward, not gonna lie. And then I went home and called it a day. On day two, I really had two goals. One, go get some parsnips to plant so I can have some crops done. And two, meet more people, find everybody in town, get rid of this task where I have to find 28 people and talk to them. I also had the pleasure of receiving a letter in the mail from a man named Willie who asked me to find him and meet him before 5 p.m. So that's definitely on the list for today. On my way to what I assumed was the beach to find him, I met a very sporty jock kind of guy named Alex. I went inside his home and met his lovely, adorable, sweet grandmother and his grumpy and introverted grandfather, who I completely and totally relate to, if I'm going to be honest. But I had a mission to do, so I headed towards the beach and I found Willie, and I was given my very first fishing rod. Willie mentioned to me how important it is to him that the art of fishing stay alive, and while that's such a sweet sentiment, I found out very quickly that the art of fishing in this game is extremely difficult, and I'll try my best to meet his wishes, but oh my gosh, it's like, I mean, you can see on the screen what's happening, but you put your rod in and you're lucky and you get a hit and you see the the green box going up and down, and you have to follow that fish, and it looks easy on the screen, but I promise you, it is surprisingly difficult. I am shocked. I decided that fishing was no longer for me, and I went into town to find some more people. I met Sam, who had fabulous anime, like main character energy hair, and Elliot, who also looked like he could be on the cover of like a romantic novel, if you catch my drift. After that, I really didn't do much. I just got really annoyed with the fact that I couldn't see anything in the dark. So I went and chopped down some trees, I crafted some little torches, and I lit up my farm, and it looked beautiful at night. On day 3, I woke up to find it was raining, which is totally fine by me. But day 3 really was quest day. I had so many goals to do. Did I get them all done? Debatable. You'll have to find out and see. On that to-do list, I still needed to find all of the people who lived in Pelican Town. Haven't met them all yet. I wanted to build a silo, craft a scarecrow, and in town, I also noticed on the help wanted board that Sebastian was looking for a daffodil, and I figured that's not too hard to find and shouldn't take too much time. So I went up towards the community center and found a daffodil and brought it straight away up to Robin's house, only to find out that Sebastian is in his room and I can't open the door. I waited until about 3:30 p.m. and he finally came out of his room. I gave him the daffodil and he was very grateful. After that, I was still on a mission to find everyone in town, so I took a chance and went back to the Stardrop Saloon. And I was correct, I did find Leia, and really no one else was there. So I headed outside and ran into the town's doctor, Harvey. I then proceeded to make my way further into town, and I found a house I had not visited yet, where I met a little boy named Vincent and his mother, Jody. It was getting pretty late, so I decided to head towards my farm and clean up a little bit more, get the stone, chop some of the wood, and I made the massive mistake of accidentally putting my stone in the like chest where you sell stuff to Lewis and not into my storage chest, and I could not get it back. So after taking that huge L, I decided to go to bed and try again tomorrow. Day 4, I honestly didn't do much. I spent the day exploring and foraging in the forests, and that's truly about it. I did level up, though, from all of my foraging, and on day 5, I got a letter from Jojamart saying that they had cleaned up a landslide that they had caused by a drilling operation near the mountain lake. I didn't know there was a landslide, but I'm glad they cleaned it up, and I definitely put that on my list to go see that cave and explore and see what possibilities are up there. On my way up to the caves in the mountains, I ran into the mayor again, and he showed me the abandoned community center. But when we went inside, it was completely run down and possibly haunted. I mean, it didn't help that it seemed I was the only one who could see these little spirits or sprites, and the mayor thought I was totally unhinged. After he left, I decided to explore the abandoned building, as, one does, and came across a strange, like, illegible note. So that was an extremely eventful morning. I decided to make my way towards the blacksmiths. And on my way, I met a very shy little girl named Jazz, and I didn't really want to bother her, so I continued on my day. But I was one step closer to meeting everyone. I just needed to find one more person, and I had no idea who that was. Truly, it's a mystery. I feel like by day 5, it's clear I am no Sherlock Holmes because it's not that hard. The town's small, there's so few people, and yet I do not know who it is. It's, I guess, a problem for later in the video. For now, I needed to go to the blacksmith's because I needed him to open up some geodes, and I was lucky to get some cool minerals, and I headed straight to the museum slash library to donate them because Gunther had informed me that the museum sadly had no artifacts. It was missing everything. I don't know if it all got stolen. I don't know if they were like, hey, we want to open a museum, but we have no stuff. Either way, I made it my new mission to help him and find all these artifacts and minerals and whatever so that they could have a beautiful, properly set up museum. Would you believe, after all of that adventuring, it's still only noon in the game, so I decided to finally head up toward the cave. Once I was there, I met a super cool adventurer named Marlin who had suggested that I try and explore the caves a little bit. I didn't even think twice. I totally just said yes. So, my goal had been to make it down to at least level 5. I sadly did not make it. I ran out of energy and I made it to level 4, but it was still cool. I got to see some stuff, break open some rocks, hit some monsters, and by then it was super late, so I headed back to my farm and ended the day. On day 6, I woke up to find Clint on my farm. However, he was there for an awesome reason. He gave me the blueprints for a furnace, which means I can make gold bars and iron bars and all sorts of stuff for projects and crafting. So I'm super excited about that. The rest of the day can only be described as magical. I received a letter from a mysterious wizard asking me to find him in his tower in the forest, and I was like, yes, sign me up. So I immediately hunted down for a wizard in a tower in the forest, and I was not disappointed with my visit with him. I entered the wizard's tower only to find out that he had a spirit there with him, the same kind from the community center, actually, so I wasn't crazy. Thank you, Mayor Lewis. And they're apparently called Junimos, and he doesn't really speak with them. He was surprised to find out that they liked me, maybe, and decided that he was going to help me become one with the forest so that I could understand their secret language. And then I'd be able to communicate with them and read their note from the community center. But to do this, the wizard decided I needed to drink a trippy looking potion, and trippy indeed. It was a vibe. I don't know, if you guys were in this situation, would you have taken the trippy potion from the wizard? I think I probably would have, I'm gonna be honest. The powers you get from it are totally worth it to me. After that encounter, I immediately headed towards the community center to read that note, and it turns out the Junimos would like to help the community and rebuild the community center. But in return, I need to donate some items for them, whether it's foraging, it looks like for each season, summer, winter, spring, also some crops, I'm not quite sure. And in return for these items, they will help the community and fix up some stuff, and that sounds like a great deal to me. I spent the rest of the evening heading down to the mines trying to get some copper ore and work my way down to as far as I could, and I actually made it all the way to level 10, and then it was pretty much midnight and I had to run home before I passed out. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Kay, it's day 7. Have you finally met everyone in town? Did you finally accomplish this task? And the answer is yes, yes, I did. Truly, if I got nothing else done for this whole day, I would still be proud of myself because that was the most frustrating thing and it was so silly. It was so simple. It was Marnie. I truly had thought I had already met her. I passed her so many times, and it turns out, nope, I didn't. I did have the fortune of finding her in the saloon, and I was so relieved when I finally finished that task. And that really was all that happened during the day. But that's not to say that nothing happened at night, because I got to witness a magical, beautiful fairy come to my farm and bless my crops, and then she just disappeared, which honestly just makes me wonder. We have wizards so far, and Junimos and fairies. What other magical creatures do we get to meet in this game? Day 9 was all about harvesting clay for Robin so that she could use the materials to build me a silo. I also grew and harvested a single potato, green bean, and cabbage for my community center harvest bundle. And I donated a daffodil, which means I got to complete my spring foraging bundle, which was awesome. Now, the main reason for this being so awesome, besides meaning I'm one step closer to perfection, is it opened up a world of possibilities with the community center. It also gave me a chance to apparently collect fish and other materials from the mines and caves, and I'm hoping to get it done sooner rather than later, but it's all about the journey, not the destination, right? When it came to days 10 and 11, I really had high hopes. It was raining, and apparently, when it rains, you can catch some special fish. I was looking for a catfish, which you can only find in rivers, but it did not pan out for me. I spent all of those 2 days just fishing, and I got nothing except leveling up in one level for fishing. That's not to say day 11 was a total loss, though, because as I was heading to the lake in the woods to fish, I found Vincent and Jas playing by this old sewer in the woods, and they thought they heard something creepy. So, of course, I had to go down there and check for them. And it was creepy. There was scary sounds. I don't know what's down there. I'm not sure I'm about it. I'm sure we'll find out what it is later in the game. But Jas mentioned something interesting. It was locked, so we couldn't get in even if we wanted to. She thought Gunther, the owner of the museum and library, has a key to it. So I'm sure we will probably have to become friends with him or something to get that key to get down there. On day 12, not only did I wake up to cherry blossoms in the air, but Marnie on my doorstep. She'd found a stray dog on my farm and suggested that I adopt him, and that's exactly what I did. I ended up choosing the name Atlas for him. I've always liked it, so that's what I went with. I had also been lucky enough to be a Friday, which means there is a traveling cart lady in the woods that comes and she'll sell you interesting things. And I found a crab from her, which is great because I was having trouble finding them and I need to donate a crab for the community center. Now, you guys may have already known this, but I was not aware that she also comes on Sundays. I guess I'm not looking in my woods very much because I am so sad to learn that I have been missing her visits. I could have been buying more cool things, and I've only been trying to find her on Fridays. So that's my mistake, but I will learn from it and not let that happen again. Now, day 13 was a fun one. It was Egg Festival Day. It's a holiday in the game. It's very similar to Easter. However, in this version, it's mostly a large community feast where you get to chat with people and purchase some interesting things like strawberry seeds and seasonal plants and an egg hunt. During my egg hunt, I honestly thought I was going to win. I was booking it. I found so many eggs. I was so excited. I ended up getting 7, which I totally thought was enough to beat everyone else, but I was wrong. I don't know what the magic number is to win. Maybe there isn't one, but Abigail beat me, and props to her. She must have found way more, clearly. But that was mainly it. I got to go home after that and finished the day. Day 14 was a Sunday, which means it was a recipe day. I learned the very difficult recipe of coleslaw. Not my favorite food in the world, but it's an all right side dish. Otherwise, I just did my daily chores, watered my crops, fed my chickens, and then I started a tree farm of all of the trees I could find, pine trees, oak, and maple, because I'm pretty sure I need those to make barrels and kegs and get like oak resin, pine tar. Yeah. Anyways, that stuff. And to finish out my evening, because I apparently never can have enough lights on my farm, I added more lights everywhere so that I could actually see what I was doing at night. Because it's so dark, I honestly can't even, see where I'm going at night. Next day, I woke up to find out it was salmonberry season, which meant I would be foraging the whole day. I didn't only find salmonberries, though, I also found some spring onions in the forest, and then went to the beach and found clams and shells as well. Day 16, I managed to harvest 2 gold quality parsnips, which is awesome for the community center. That means I only need 3 more before the end of spring for my gold quality crops bundle. With that thought in mind, I headed my way towards Pierre's to buy some more parsnip seeds. And I got to witness a very uncomfortable encounter between Morris, the manager from JojaMart, and Pierre, where Morris basically just came into the store and started trying to steal all the customers and offered deals to people to come shop at his store instead. And it was sad and weird. After witnessing that frankly uncool behavior, I've changed my opinion about JojaMart. I will definitely not be shopping there or supporting their business in any way, shape, or form. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with the luck system in this game. I haven't really shown it so far in this video, but every single morning I go to my TV, I check the weather report, see what the weather will be like tomorrow, and I also check the fortune for the day. A fortune teller will tell you if the luck and the spirits are on your side that day or not. And if they are on your side, you will have great luck for the day. You'll get really good fish. There won't be so many monsters attacking you in the mines. And if the spirits are neutral, that's obviously a neutral outcome. And if they're bad luck, well, I wouldn't head to the mines if I were you. Now, having said all of that, I was told that I had extremely bad luck for the day, and I decided I didn't care about it at all. I went to the mines and made it all the way down to level 16. Since I made it all the way to level 16, I stopped by the Adventurers Guild and managed to pick up a cool sword at his shop. On day 17, it was raining, and if you've been paying attention so far in this video, you'll know that means I'm still trying to catch a catfish. Did I catch that catfish? No. No, I didn't. I don't know what I need to do, but I need to keep leveling up my fishing skill, and maybe one day I'll be skilled enough and the green bar will be big enough to catch it. The day wasn't completely lost though, because while I was wandering around in the forest, I noticed a really beautiful rainbow and a pot of gold next to it. So I was too curious. I went over there to see what that was about, and I actually got to keep the gold, and it did give me a fun hat that I didn't have the inventory for, so I had to march all the way back up to my farm, put some stuff in my storage, march all the way back to the waterfall, pick up my cool hat, and go to bed. Day 18 was a dungeon crawling kind of day. I spent the whole day in there. I made it all the way to level 26. I had more energy. I could have gone farther, but I seriously hit every single rock, fought every single monster, and I could not find the ladder to go to the next level, and I just gave up and went home and went to bed early and moved on with my life. Day 19 was an absolute whirlwind of tasks. I first woke up to find cherry blossoms in the sky, and Jody sent me mail asking for a cauliflower. I thought, that's no problem, and immediately ran to her house to give that to her. She was very thankful. She needed it for dinner that evening. After Jody's, I went to visit the traveling cart lady in the woods and bought goat's milk, which apparently I didn't need because it was small and I needed a large one for the community center, a red cabbage seed, and a tomato. I then proceeded to march my way to the community center and donate the tomato and some fish. But if you thought that's all I did for that day, you would be wrong. I then went to the blacksmith's and had Clint open some of my geodes and had some more rocks and gems to donate for Gunther. I didn't know what else to do, so I headed back to the mines, made it all the way to level 29, and sadly, yet again, got stuck, and I couldn't find the ladder, and I just gave up because it was so late, I didn't have energy, and went home, made some mayo, and went to bed. The next day, I saw it was Shane's birthday, and I found out that it's very helpful to give people gifts on their birthday. It levels up your friendship quite a bit. So I headed towards the Stardrop Saloon to get him a beer as a gift. I was hoping that would be acceptable. He seems to be there a lot. And I thought, well, that's my best shot at thinking of a gift for him. And I was correct. He really liked it and was very touched that I thought of him on his birthday. Now, side note, I actually ran into Dr. Harvey on the way to the saloon, and he always seems to only give me doctor medical dialogue. And my new secret goal is to befriend him and see how long it takes for him to say anything normal besides, don't forget to wear sunscreen, make sure you're taking all your vitamins, stuff like that. I just want him to be like, hey, it's nice to see you, or did you see the shooting stars last night? Just anything. Now, I spent the rest of my afternoon and evening foraging for wood. I needed some so I can build some extra coops and other buildings for my farm, but I ran into Shane by the lake. He seemed to be drinking a beer on the pier and offered me one as well, so I sat down and hung out with him for a while when he actually shared some very deep vulnerable thoughts, and I honestly felt sorry for him. He'd asked me if I ever felt like I was going to fail no matter what, and if he feels like he's stuck in an abyss that will never see the light of day again. And I just realized he is so depressed and dealing with a lot, and I will not be giving him alcohol as a gift anymore. I also don't know how or if I can help him, but maybe becoming his friend will be a good place to start. It looks like that plan was already set in motion because the next morning I woke up to find mail from Shane, and he sent me recipes for pepper poppers, which is very fun to say. Pepper poppers. Pepper poppers. Okay, anyways. I went to the blacksmith's to upgrade my pickaxe and unnecessarily rearranged my museum's donations for no reason other than aesthetic. On my way back to the farm, I ran into Linus digging through George and Evelyn's trash can. George did not know it was Linus. He thought it was some raccoons and asked me to go deal with the problem and scare him away. When I finally talked to Linus about it, he seemed very anxious and nervous. I told him he wasn't really doing anything wrong and he wasn't hurting anybody, so he seemed to calm down and he promised he would not go through George's trash again. I then saw him go and dig out some food from the saloon, and Gus, the owner, stopped him and just brought him some fresh food, which I thought was really nice, but Linus seemed a little sad about. I don't particularly know why, but maybe we'll find out later. The next day, I received some mail from Mayor Lewis telling me that there was going to be a festival called the Flower Dance tomorrow, so that'll be interesting. Besides that, I found out my pickaxe was ready to pick up and stopped by the river to catch some catfish since it was raining, and no, I still can't get it. It's very elusive for me. After that, I went on a gifting spree. I gave Abigail an amethyst, Caroline a daffodil, Evelyn a daffodil. I gave Dr. Harvey some coffee. He loved it, seemed super stoked about it, and then when I spoke to him again, it was the same old doctor dialogue. So, well, guess we'll keep trying. I was super stoked to test out my new pickaxe and see what it could do in the mines. So I headed down there, and luck was not on my side. I got stuck battling slimes on level 26, and then proceeded to get stuck battling bugs on level 28, but I did not give up. I was going to make it to level 30 no matter what it took, and I did make it to level 30, so I gave myself a little high five, got myself a cool sword, and called it a day. The flower dance. What can I say about the flower dance? It was cute. I got to chat with the townspeople, which was always interesting. I really wanted to buy a rare crow from Pierre, but I was short a few golds, so that did not happen for me. I also sadly did not have a good enough relationship with anybody, so nobody wanted to dance with me. I just got to watch them on the side, which, after watching the routine, made me feel better that I didn't participate because it didn't seem particularly interesting or challenging. Day 25, I got a very cute yet cryptic message in the mail from someone named Hatmouse, and basically the message just said, "Me sell hats, okay, Poke?" And I will support their business. I'm gonna find this little mouse and I will buy their hats for sure. On my way to the blacksmith's, I noticed there was a bookseller with a hot air balloon selling interesting books. I wished I could have bought some of the level up fishing books, but I had nowhere near the amount of money needed to buy those books, and I needed that money for other things. So I carried on my way to the blacksmith's, opened up some geodes, donated some of the materials from that to the museum, and headed my way to the mines. I made it all the way to level 41, which is awesome because I completed the Adventurers Guild task of making it to level 40. And now my new goal is to reach the bottom. I'm not sure how many levels there will be. I'm guessing 100 is typical, but there might be more just to kind of fool you. Day 26 was all about the community center. I, of course, visited the cart lady, as I always do when she's in town, and I bought a bar of gold, which I immediately donated for the blacksmith's bundle, which makes me one step closer. While I was there, I also donated a cave carrot, oak resin, and a mushroom for the exotic foraging bundle. I also took the time to clear my farm so I could build some more buildings for my animals. I'm hoping to get some cows and pigs and stuff like that, which would be super awesome. I like the animals in this game. I'm not so good at the crops. We'll see with time how I feel, but animals are much more my speed for sure. Day 27, luck must have been on my side. I managed to get 5 gold parsnips one day before spring was over and I could not get any more. I ran to the community center. I donated those parsnips immediately. And to make the day even better, I also got to pick up my new upgraded axe. On my last day of spring, I mostly spent it working on my farm. I chopped down some trees, got rid of some of the hardwood stumps. I also built some tappers and put them on each type of my tree because I want to get some maple syrup, oak resin, and pine tar. With that hardwood I got from my farm, I also was able to finish my construction bundle on the community center, and it gave me the gift of charcoal kiln. In addition to that, it opened up a whole bunch of possibilities for more donations. But it looks like that one is more a reward for friendship. It opened up like this bulletin board where you can donate stuff for a chef bundle, a scientist bundle, an enchanter's bundle. You get the idea. I donate some stuff. I earn friendship points with certain people in the community, which is pretty cool. Lastly, I visited Pierre's and I bought some wallpaper and used it to redecorate my home. I'm not sure I'm a fan of it. It was a choice and now I have to live with it, and that's okay. I'm sure I can find new wallpaper in the future. And that marks the end of spring in my first year. I'm super excited to see where summer is going to take me. Thank you so much for watching me on this journey, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!